One of the things that is really interesting is like when I first met Eric's mom, my mother in love, she told me, yeah, Eric always has a bag packed. And so that should have been an indication right there that
good. Yeah.
So wheels up, like where we going
It's
next,
not my fault though. It's my parents' fault.
Hey guys, this is Zach from Start Abroad. Today I'm going to be speaking with Erik and Jae. They're longtime expats. They lived all over the world, and now they're in the process of considering what is their next international move. They're considering Portugal and a few other countries. They've also just had an adorable new baby, which changes the considerations as they get ready to move. Enjoy. Yeah, so if you don't mind, just please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Jae. I am happy to be speaking with you all today. I'm a curator of Soul Music Society and also owner of Barosso Media.
Speaking of Soul Music Society,
Yes.
shameless plug, yeah. And my name is Eric Tubbs. I am a digital technologist or design technologist. I run a design agency as well as a digital strategy agency, Digital Island and Visual Island. We're about an hour outside of Orlando, north of Orlando, Florida. We just moved from New York, about a month ago. Yeah.
And you recently had a baby, an adorable baby.
Yes. Elise.
Yeah. She's 4 months. She's right over here. She's our little sidekick.
Yeah.
So she might want to chime in every now and then, but yeah. Well, when we met, we met, got married, and all that good stuff. So right after we got married, I got the opportunity to go to Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. So that was our first experience, kind of like being apart, but me actually just traveling abroad. That was my first time going out the country, out of the U.S. So it was really interesting, and Eric actually got a chance to come over to spend time out there while I was out working. We got to spend I think
you were out there for about a year and a half, off and on. But she didn't say that she actually was a part of a band.
Yes, I was. Okay, it was singing at the office bar at the Sheraton had the band, and so we would perform probably like 6 nights a week, 3-hour sets each night, that kind of stuff. But they were very gracious in that they would allow our family members and friends to come over free of charge and stay for however long they wanted, which was such a great thing, because it was our first time apart, being in this new union. So he was able to come over and experience Ethiopia. It was like we were with us. So that was really, we were very fortunate. It was kind of like a culture shock because, well, first of all, we were living in this huge, 5-star hotel, but then outside of the hotel, we were able to see all different levels of, financial, I don't know what's the word. But we were able to see a lot of wealth and a lot poverty. Of poverty. Yeah. So it was one extreme to the next, and we were actually able to communicate and get lots of footage of just the different ways that people were living there. Yeah. But one thing I can say is everybody was so welcoming, and it just felt like home. Honestly, like the energy there was just amazing. The food was amazing. Just the culture itself was, I didn't know what to expect. So when they first told me I had got the gig, I was like, Addis Ababa, like having to Google, where is this? And so I didn't know anything about it. But going there, it was just really eye-opening, and I call it like a second home because I just love this so much.
Yeah, I guess I'll take that one because that was my move. So we actually moved to Seoul, South Korea. So I'm, as I mentioned earlier, I'm in the digital space. Around that time, just looking at different opportunities, and I found an opportunity in Seoul, South Korea to work to teach English, actually. So it was way outside of my career. And I asked her, would you want to go out there? And she said, yeah. And so I moved out there. She was still in Ethiopia. I moved out to Korea to get everything set up. was out there for about a year. Well, actually about 2.5 years. So I taught English at an elementary school at first. Then I transitioned to teach English, business English at I guess they call them Hogwans. So it's like a private school. And then one of my students, they said, oh, we have an opening for a general manager to help with, grow our business, our startup, basically. So I said, yeah. I raised my hand, like, yeah, let's do this. So I started working at a company called RNTS Media, and that had me travel all over Southeast Asia, Indonesia, India. Also to Europe as well, because we had an office in Berlin, Germany.
Amazing. And so, I mean, thus far the story is kind of opportunity presented itself and you use that as a vehicle to travel all over the world and gain exposure. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
we love to kind of go where opportunity is. And it always takes us to, some interesting, dynamic kind of, experience that we never would have thought that we would have been able to do. So it's in his DNA, because when he was growing up, his parents, their family moved around quite a bit. It was, I think, just being open to new experiences, something that is kind of like wired in him.
Yeah.
Is that natural for you, Jay, or is that something that you've kind of discovered about yourself?
I think it was after I graduated from college, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. I was like, you know what, this world is so big, or the US basically. I was like, I need to get out. And so I took a job, it was a marketing job. Just traveled throughout the US, and I was like, well, I'm doing big things, just like traveling throughout the US and not just staying, in one city or like one state. So I think, and I have big dreams of being like, a singer, songwriter, and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to tour around the world one day and all that stuff. So I was always open to it, but actually doing it was, another thing. So I didn't really get the opportunity to travel out of the US until the Ethiopia thing. But I think in my mind, I was like, I'm going to do big things, when I get older.
So I was able to take a business trip. Oh, my Elise wants to say something.
Yeah. Please. She's doing big things too.
Yeah. She's going to be traveling soon. But so basically I had an opportunity to take a business trip to Abu Dhabi. And our hosts were two Emirati guys that took us around Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And during that week-long trip, I was like, oh, this probably needs to be the next place for us to move to. I started looking for jobs and opportunities in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And luckily enough, or fortunate enough, I was able to find a opportunity as head of digital business for a entertainment company called Flash Entertainment in Abu Dhabi. So that actually then took us to Abu Dhabi in 2013. So we were in Abu Dhabi for 3 years, and then I was able to get an opportunity in Dubai. Well, it was a very small, short jump, like 45 minutes to an hour drive from each other, as you know. Or I get an opportunity at a company called Rivoli Group, which is a subsidiary of Swatch Group out of Switzerland. So we were there for about a year and a half in Dubai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always recommend to everyone to just at least try to visit if they can, because it's a great place to visit. And it can be a great place to live depending on what you like to do or what type of your lifestyle,
industry.
Your industry.
So the lifestyle, it was very easy living. We actually started thinking about going back to UAE. How can I put it? A lot of people outside of the UAE think it's very, very conservative. But when you're in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, you kind of feel like you're not really in the Middle East per se, other than you see, Emiratis wearing the very royal fedoras and the women wearing the abayas. But yeah, it was a great experience.
It was a great experience, and there's quite a bit of diversity there as well.
Yeah.
British,
Europeans, of course, individuals from the Levant region, like Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, so on and so forth. But,
so it was really cool getting to know those people. And I was actually working with a lot of musicians, you know, when I was there. There's plentiful, you know, entertainment opportunities and stuff. So I was there, and it was really cool to work with them and collaborate and just get their frame of reference and the type of music that they listen to. And so in that respect, it was really cool to like collaborate musically with them. It was cool. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah. Everything was so fresh too, like food and all that.
I think overall we're culture seekers, right? Or I don't want to say seeking, we gravitate towards, you know, various cultures, different cultures. Like, for example, the Middle East is totally different than Far East Asia and South Korea, right? And I think it kind of spans from, you know, both of our travels, but then also my travel individually as well. And I'm just like to explore, right? Yeah. And also it kind of ties into certain lifestyles when it comes to insurance and cost of living. Yes, you know, UAE is expensive, but then it's relatively expensive, right? Compared to, you know, certain cities in the US. But for the most part, I just like to explore and travel, and I like to kind of ingrain myself into certain cultures. And I feel like I grow as a person because the world is so large and so big, you know, and now we're at a point where it's a boundaryless society, you know, and cultures starting to merge together as well.
Another thing that's important for us is healthcare.
This ties into
healthcare is really important for us in America. It can be a little tricky.
Yeah,
you know, it can be kind of very expensive. Yeah. So Eric's been doing a lot of research and I've been, you know, tinkering here and there, you know, with it as well. But yeah, so healthcare, and then safety. That's a big concern of ours. Yeah. Especially with Elise, you know, she's going to grow up, go to school, and not saying we're completely afraid of, you know, our child going to school in the U.S., but there's just a peace of mind that you have going somewhere where it's rated, you know, an extremely safe place to live, and just we just want to exist in a place where we don't have to be wondering if, you know, there's gonna be, somebody's gonna.
So we drove by this school 2 days ago here in Florida. And it was like this barbed wire fence around this elementary school. I think the last time we drove by when we came back a couple of years ago, there was no fence around this school. So I'm like, they're really fortifying these schools.
And it's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but then at the same time, why? You know what I mean? Then taxes is another one. One thing that we were able to take advantage of is this expat tax exemption or whatever. It worked because I had, you know, full-time employment in different countries, but I know if you are up below a certain threshold when it comes to salary, then you can then take advantage of the taxes. Of course, you have to report, but you don't have to actually pay on that particular tax.
Foreigner and income exclusion, That's
what it is.
That's great,
Research. Eric has been doing a lot of research. Ain't no shame in my game with that. He's been doing a lot of research as far as our next move and where we would go that would make a lot of sense.
Now, especially we have our daughter with us. So there were two locations actually three. One I mentioned we were looking at moving back to the UAE. But the problem is the UAE is just so far away from the US. So we were then also looking at Colombia because I have a friend or acquaintance that I went to school with that, you know, travels back and forth between Florida and Colombia. But then, you know, over time, over the past 2 years, I've been really looking into Portugal because it's just been popping up in my feed. But also, you know, there's a number of, things that we have on our list of what we were looking for when it comes to moving back overseas. We do definitely want to move back overseas because the lifestyle was just, I think, a little bit better overseas for us than in the US. We're not going to give up US. It'd just be another home for us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the reason why we're doing Portugal is mainly what she's talking about with safety. We hear it's like the top 5 in the world of like most safest countries, the healthcare, and then also the close proximity to the US. So those are the reasons why we're looking at Portugal.
I imagine as you guys have a young baby, kind of the proximity, you're not going to give up living elsewhere, but it becomes more important to be a little closer to family. I imagine.
Exactly. So a lot of our families in this, in the U.S. in the South, and so yeah.
Well, the grandmas are like, oh, actually, surprisingly, her mom.
Your mother-in-law. No.
Yeah, my mother-in-law.
My mom was like, okay, y'all go out there for a year. And
Portugal, by the way.
Portugal. She's like, and then I'm gonna move out there with y'all. And
we
were like,
so she,
great.
Yeah, she's interested in looking. Okay. Yeah, so that'll help us out a little bit because she's a retired teacher as well. So that'll help us out as well.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for us is that one of the challenges is family saying, why are you leaving again?
Yeah.
So we really touch on this in the sense that if we're looking at Portugal, which is like maybe 6 to 7 hour flight, right? But they're like, what? You're moving away. But if we were moving to California or Oregon or Washington, it's kind of the same thing. You have to hop on a flight. Even if you have to go to from Florida to New York, it's like a 3 or 4 hour flight, right? So we're kind of like explaining that it's just a flight away. Yes, you have to have a passport, but it's just a flight away. Okay, so I guess for me, I would say, I think I'm only saying this because of my experience. I went to places that were sight unseen. So 2 things, if you are going sight unseen, try to just have an open mind and don't bring if there's somebody coming from the US, don't bring your Western, full Western philosophies into the mix. Try to be open-minded. Also, try to be open-minded as much as possible, but also try to come into the mix and try to represent your where you're from in the best way possible, right? And that's what I tried to do when I was in Korea. There's a lot of individuals from Korea that have never been to the U.S. and they never even experienced African-American male, and in the media they see us in a different light to a certain extent. So I was like, oh wow, this is very interesting. So I really tried to bring a whole nother aspect of African-American male or Black male to them that's different than what they saw on media. So
I would just say try to research as much as possible, and try, if possible, to kind of piggybacking off what Eric was saying, to just take a scouting trip to see if you would even feel comfortable with the energy of the place that you're thinking of moving to. Just to see if it's someplace that you want to live, because I think you should live somewhere that inspires you and moves you if possible. So just try to check it out first before making the big leap. But definitely research. YouTube was now mine, but kind of like Eric's university to a certain extent.
And then you also have Start Abroad as well, so reach out to them.
Start Abroad. I said there's so many moving parts to moving to another country, just being an expat in itself, moving and getting acclimated to everything.
Visas, housing.
And now we have a dog, and so that's another layer. And then, but now we have a baby, so there's just so much that goes into even being just one person moving to another country. So we need help, we need counsel in that area. So that's why, just to make things a little more seamless and to just get help, basically, because it's hard doing everything, on your own. What are we looking forward to? I'm looking forward to learning the language, going to just see new things, meet new people, work on projects out there, collaborate with folks, and just experience a new frequency and new type of happiness. That's what I'm looking forward to, and having our friends and family come over and check it out as well. So
I think in addition to the new experiences, I would say looking at setting a foundation in a place, because we've been bopping around, as they say, a lot, and we want to really find that somewhat long-term home, a second home at least, and also maybe being able to take advantage of residency to citizenship, second citizenship out there that then allows us to maneuver around Europe, but also having close proximity to Africa as well, because we have some interest in exploring parts of Africa.
And give at least a new perspective on, life and growing up in a different place and seeing things through her eyes is going to be so amazing.
Erik and Jae, are you guys ready for Start Abroad's world famous rapid fire?
Yes.
Let's do it.
What's your favorite beach in the world?
Marissa is beach in Marissa, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, same. I don't know the name of it, but
okay. There is a beach out there that is your favorite beach in the world.
Yeah, it's in Marissa. Yeah.
Great. What's your favorite international food?
It would have to be
Ethiopian.
Gomen and Shiro.
Gomen, Shiro, Tibbs, and
Durwat.
Or yeah.
That food's good. Ethiopian food is so good. What's your favorite word in a foreign language?
Ishi.
It means okay.
It means okay in Amharic, the Ethiopian language.
Jae, use Ishi in a sentence.
Ishi. That means okay. Like, oh, okay.
Nailed it.
Ishi.
Ishi, I don't know.
Nailed it.
You just say it different ways.
Yeah.
What is the best vacation you've ever taken?
Oh,
the best vacation we took was to, it was like a dual trip to Berlin and Amsterdam. And it was the first trip that we ever took. We didn't plan anything, but we had the most fun ever. We saw so many different types of festivals and people and
Prime Minister of UK or
Queen
England,
Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth, yeah.
That Keti Koti.
Yeah, then the Keti Koti Festival in Amsterdam. Yeah, so it was just like it was every single day. It was like we run into something.
Yeah.
And we didn't plan for it. Yeah.
What book is on your nightstand?
There's a book for Elise called Brown Sugar Baby, and there's also the 12-week year. We're going through that again. I did it once before back when we were living in New York, and it was amazing. So
yeah, for me it's 12-week year and Atomic Habits.
Cool. Yeah. What's the grossest food you've ever eaten?
I guess for me would be I think it's called sea urchin. I can't remember. It was when I was in Korea and we went to a sushi restaurant, and it wasn't sushi where you have California rolls. It's actually like true sushi, right? Yeah. Everything was great, but it was just one thing that I had. It was just like very rubbery and it just wasn't for this.
I think for me it was kind of like raw, kind of like a seasoned meat in Addis.
Yeah.
It wasn't all that bad. It's just a texture.
They have
meat in Addis, man. I don't know.
They had raw meat in Berlin too. It was interesting. Yeah.
Raw meat's tough, and in Addis, I would have a lot of questions.
Oh yeah.
What's the last song you sung in the shower?
Oh God. The last song, probably "What a Wonderful World." Sometimes that song just pops into my head.
Yeah.
I'm not fun. I won't. I'm not gonna lie. I don't just really sing in the shower because I can't remember.
Yeah. What's the last song you sung out loud, Eric?
Oh man. I don't know.
It's probably something by like Africa.
Yeah, probably like Hey Ya or something like that. My favorite groups is Outkast. So yeah.
Okay. Have you ever ridden an ostrich?
No.
Maybe one day though.
Maybe one day. Yeah. Okay. What's one indispensable travel item?
Passport.
Sure. And a charger or adapters.
The adapters. That's a good point. Like look up the adapter you're going to need for the country before you go.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you need like the step down or step up if the country has like different voltage than the US.
Yes.
Great. Erik and Jae, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you guys. I think this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people.
Well, Zach, thank you very much. Thank you and Anna as well for the opportunity, and had a blast.
Yeah, thank you. y'all. Thank you for what you're doing to help people, in different stages in their lives to start abroad.
Yeah.
Great. So that was my conversation with Erik and Jae. I hope that was really useful for you guys. They have agreed to speak with people who are maybe interested in learning more about their journey or want to just pick their brains about what moving abroad can involve. If you'd like to connect with them, please reach out to us first, info@startabroad.com, and we can put you in touch. If you're considering an international move, if you don't know where to start, if you just want some help throughout the process, we would love to be able to support you. You can find our website and book a free consultation at www.startabroad.com. We'll be really excited to connect with you and just start talking through your options. Have a good day. Thanks very much.